Chosen one. You were not led to this message by chance. Heaven arranged every step that brought you into this moment. You are here because your appointed season has arrived. The scales of divine justice have shifted in your favor. Every battle, every silent tear, and every moment you chose faith, when nothing around you made sense, has been witnessed. Now, heaven is answering. You endured the testing. The wilderness has completed its assignment. Anointed one. You now stand at the threshold of a supernatural release, not only a transfer of provision, but a transfer of purpose and destiny. From this moment forward, God is supplying what your calling requires: the resources, inspired ideas, divine connections, and open doors that once appeared beyond your reach are already moving toward you. This is not imagination. It is heaven's order, becoming visible in your life. Receive the word of the Lord. He will open his abundant storehouse in the heavens and bless the work of your hands. What you place your hands upon in this next season will increase. What you declare through faith will cause mountains to move. Let this be your confirmation. The agreement in the Spirit has already been sealed. The season of delay has been shattered, and divine provision is now flowing. Prepare your heart. Chosen one. The resources of heaven are supporting every obedient step you take. Chosen one. You have passed through the flames, haven't you? You have lived through moments when the weight of life pressed against you so intensely that even taking another breath felt like warfare. You have experienced loss, discouragement, and deep heartbreak, the kind of pain that causes you to question why you were created and whether your purpose still remains. Yet, even when everything around you seemed to collapse, there was something within you that would not surrender. That was not accidental. It was the strength of God planted inside your spirit before the battle ever began. Anointed one. Heaven recognized what everyone else failed to see: the tears that no one noticed, the prayers that felt unanswered, the faith you carried when you had no proof things would work out. Every hidden act of perseverance was counted. While you thought you were just surviving, God was measuring your faith, and you passed. That's why this moment is not ordinary. You've reached the threshold where God shifts from testing to funding, from pruning to producing, from silence to supernatural supply. Listen closely. God's funding is not limited to your finances. It's the peace that quiets your anxious thoughts. It's the health that begins to bloom in a weary body. It's the strength to keep believing when logic says, give up. When you thought heaven was silent, God was setting the stage. He was arranging resources, people, and timing to align perfectly with your purpose. And now, the floodgates are opening. Not slowly, but suddenly. You're not chasing blessings anymore. Chosen one. They're chasing you. You'll begin to see favor in places you once faced rejection. Open doors where you once saw only walls. I know what it feels like to wait. I've been there when everything seemed delayed, when prayers echoed back as silence. But I've learned that God's silence is never absence. It's the stillness before release. And when he finally moves, it's always in abundance. This is what heaven's funding feels like. Your mind at peace while the world panics. Your needs met before you even voice them. Opportunities aligning as if they were written in your name. Because they were. You've entered a season where your obedience has unlocked divine sponsorship. The same God who provided manna in the wilderness is about to provide strategies, ideas, and divine connections that will carry you further than effort ever could. Chosen one. Let this settle deep in your heart. You are not just being blessed. You are being entrusted. Heaven doesn't invest where there is no faith. God saw your endurance, and now He's multiplying it into provision. You're stepping into a flow where the supernatural becomes the standard, where doors open, healing manifests, and your life becomes the evidence that faith works. Take a breath and receive this truth. You are not behind. You are precisely on schedule. Everything that felt delayed was alignment in disguise. Every detour was direction. Every loss was a setup for the greater that's arriving now. And just like Joseph, who went from the pit to the palace, your journey is being rewritten in divine ink. Chosen one, you've passed the test. Now heaven is funding your next chapter. Get ready. The same God who sustained you through the fire is about to crown you with favor. The waiting is over. The release has begun. Chosen one, hear this clearly. What's coming next will not look like recovery. It will look like rebirth. The season you are entering isn't about rebuilding what was lost. It's about stepping into what's been reserved. Heaven has been holding resources, ideas, and opportunities in storage, waiting for your spirit to mature enough to handle them. You weren't being delayed. You were being prepared. Anointed one. God is not giving you just enough to survive. He's pouring out more than enough for you to overflow. When God funds, He doesn't send trickles. He opens floodgates. He multiplies peace. Multiplie provision. Multiplies strength. The same divine hand that carried you through loss is now empowering you to carry abundance. But here's the truth most won't tell you. Abundance tests your heart just as much as scarcity tested your faith. That's why the wilderness was necessary. It trained you to hold the weight of glory without forgetting who sent it. I know that weight. I've lived the kind of silence that makes you question your calling. I've seen doors slam shut while I was sure I had heard from God, and every time I wanted to give up, grace whispered, "Not yet." When I finally surrendered, when I stopped forcing what wasn't flowing, that's when God moved. Suddenly, connections appeared, opportunities unfolded, and provision came from unexpected directions. That's how heaven works. It doesn't need logic. It just needs faith. Chosen one. Heaven is doing the same for you now. The contracts, the favor, the promotion, the healing. They're not random. They're prophetic signs that the season of spiritual drought has ended. You'll begin to feel a holy acceleration, where everything that once took months will happen in moments. Doors that were locked will swing wide. The people assigned to your destiny will start recognizing your name before you even meet them. But don't mistake this for coincidence. This is orchestration. Every detail of your journey, every heartbreak, delay, and redirection has led to this precise alignment. The hand of God is signing checks in your name. You've been faithful with little, and now much is being released. You'll look back and realize that every unanswered prayer was answered in a better way. Chosen one, this is your Malachi moment. Heaven's storehouse opening over your life, not as a future hope, but as a present reality. You may not see it all at once, but you'll feel it in your peace, in your sleep, in your confidence. Things that used to shake you will no longer move you. The worry that once drained your energy will lose its power because your spirit knows the truth. You're funded by a kingdom that never runs out. So, lift your head, straighten your shoulders, Speak life into what looks impossible. The same breath that revived dry bones is breathing over your circumstances right now. You don't have to chase what's yours. It's already en route. God is sending people who carry answers, opportunities that require no compromise, and blessings that arrive tailor-made for your calling. Chosen one. You've entered divine flow. You're not hustling for provision. You're walking in purpose. And when purpose leads, provision follows. Heaven's current is carrying you now, and everything that belongs to you will find you. You're not behind. You're right on time. Chosen one. You can feel it deep within. The air has changed. The atmosphere around you carries a weight of destiny. Something in your spirit knows. This moment isn't ordinary. The heaviness that used to follow you has lifted. The doors that were once sealed have begun to unlock. Heaven has whispered your name, and divine movement has been set in motion. You're not waiting for breakthrough anymore. You are standing inside of it. Anointed one. When God steps in to fund your life, everything shifts. The burdens that once bent your shoulders begin to disappear. What you once pursued now pursues you. The favor you prayed for is finding you. This isn't random. It's divine order. Heaven has aligned your timeline to reveal that your perseverance was not wasted. Every tear, every prayer, every moment you chose faith when fear screamed louder, all of it became the currency that opened the floodgates. And now, the release is here. But divine funding isn't about money alone. It's about restoration of peace, of clarity, of purpose. It's the calm that quiet your mind after years of battle. It's the joy that returns to your heart when you thought it was gone for good. It's strength rising again, in places that once felt numb. God isn't just blessing your hands. He's healing your heart. What once drained you will now sustain you. What once broke you will now build you. Where there was lack, there will be overflow. I've seen this kind of shift before. I've watched God take the ashes of disappointment and turn them into divine blueprints for destiny. I learned that the moment I stopped forcing outcomes and started trusting His flow, everything began to align. Opportunities appeared without effort. Doors opened without explanation. People I never expected showed up with answers I didn't even know I needed. That's what happens when you move from striving to surrender. Heaven becomes your sponsor. Chosen one. This is your acceleration season. You're about to experience divine connections, sudden answers, and blessings that arrive quicker than you can explain. Those who are meant to walk with you will recognize you by spirit. You'll feel lighter, freer, and more focused because you're no longer surviving through strength. You're soaring through grace. But abundance requires alignment. Stay humble. Stay grateful. The same faith that sustained you in drought must now anchor you in rain. Gratitude keeps heaven's windows open. Speak this aloud. God, thank you for funding my purpose, because when you live in gratitude, lack loses its grip forever. Chosen one. Every setback was a setup. Every no was God's redirection toward a divine yes. You're stepping into a season where your life becomes evidence that faith still works, that obedience still multiplies, that heaven still funds its chosen. Take a breath, lift your head, and believe. You've passed the test. The heavens have released the resources. This isn't preparation anymore. It's fulfillment. God is funding your life now. Chosen one. What you're about to witness in your life will defy human understanding. It will unfold so swiftly, so precisely that even you will know this could only be God. What's coming next will move faster than logic, more perfectly than planning, because heaven has stepped into your timeline. The same power that carried you through the wilderness is now launching you into abundance. Every delay, every detour, every closed door wasn't rejection. It was divine redirection. Heaven wasn't denying you. It was protecting and preparing you. And now, the not yet has turned into now. Anointed one. Divine funding goes far beyond financial overflow. It's supernatural alignment. People. Plus. And opportunities converging in perfect rhythm. You won't have to force your way in. You'll simply walk into what was prepared for you. You'll step into rooms where your name was spoken before you arrived, where favor has already paved the way. This is what happens when God chooses to publicly reward what you did privately in faith. What was hidden in obedience will now be revealed in glory. I've lived that moment. I've seen the silent seasons when prayers echoed into stillness, when I wondered if heaven had forgotten my name. But when the shift came, it came suddenly. Everything I thought was lost came back, multiplied. God reminded me that his restoration doesn't just return what was, it upgrades it to what should have been. He restores not to where you were, but to where you were always meant to go. And that's exactly what he's doing for you now. Chosen one. Heaven has authorized your acceleration. You've endured pruning, refining, and rebuilding. The older version of you couldn't have survived this level of blessing. That's why it had to die. The new you is prepared, disciplined, and anointed to carry abundance with integrity. This isn't random luck. It's divine strategy. God is funding your calling to build, to teach, to lead, to bless. The abundance being released is not for vanity, but for visibility, a living testimony that faith still opens doors effort never could. Take a breath and let this settle in your soul. You're walking in divine rhythm now. You don't have to chase, compete, or convince anyone. The same God who feeds the sparrows has already written your provision into existence. You only need to stay faithful, available, and aligned. Heaven is handling the rest. Anointed one. Declare this aloud. I am fully funded by heaven. Let that truth echo through your spirit. You are backed by divine resources, guarded by divine protection, and guided by divine wisdom. Even your mistakes are turning into miracles because God is managing your outcomes. What once looked like failure is being revealed as foundation. What you thought was loss was only preparation for overflow. Chosen one. Step forward with confidence. The spiritual accounts have been released. Angels are already on assignment. Every missing piece is being placed in perfect order. You're not just starting a new chapter. You're stepping into your funded era. Heaven has signed your name on blessings too great for your imagination. The promise isn't pending. It's paid in full. Walk boldly. Your time has come. Chosen one. As this divine chapter begins to unfold, understand this sacred truth. God isn't just funding your dreams. He's restructuring your entire life to fit the size of his promise. You may sense the shift in your spirit before it shows up in your surroundings. But that's how heaven moves. Quietly, deliberately, and with perfect precision. Don't be deceived by the silence. Alignment is already underway. Every phone call, every unexpected opportunity, every conversation that seems to arrive out of nowhere is proof that heaven's calendar has turned to your name. Anointed One, the tables are turning, and it has nothing to do with human strategy. You've been faithful in seasons of silence, steadfast in unseen obedience. And now the sound of breakthrough is echoing in your direction. What looked like delay was construction. God wasn't withholding blessings. He was building the foundation that could sustain them. You've been stretched, refined, and expanded in capacity. Your patience built strength, your pain built discernment, and your waiting built wisdom. So, when abundance arrives, it won't overwhelm you. It will fit you. You were never waiting for blessing. The blessing was waiting for the version of you who could it well. I've lived this truth. There were moments I thought heaven was quiet, that perhaps I had been forgotten. But then, without warning, God showed me his timing. Sudden, precise, undeniable. When I had no way forward, he made one. Provision came from places I didn't even know existed. Doors I had stopped knocking on began to open, and in that moment, I understood something sacred. God doesn't fund comfort. He funds calling. The miracle doesn't show up when you're ready to relax. It arrives when you're ready to rise. Chosen one. That's what's happening for you right now. You're not merely receiving provision. You're being strategically positioned. The new connections forming. The restoration in your body. The creative ideas coming alive again. None of it is random. Heaven is connecting dots you didn't know were even part of your picture. You may not see every detail, but the path has already been ordered. Even your missteps have been written into his plan, covered by grace, and turned into guidance. Every movement is orchestrated by divine intelligence. Anointed One, do not let fear rob you of this sacred moment. The enemy cannot block what heaven has already approved. So, his only tactic is distraction. He'll try to whisper doubt, telling you that you're not ready, not worthy, not capable, but heaven's verdict has already been given, approved, and anointed. You've been processed through pain, purified through patience, and prepared through purpose. Heaven doesn't fund what it hasn't first refined. Lift your head. Chosen one, you are stepping into a life where overflow is not rare. It's regular, where peace doesn't visit. It dwells, where provision isn't earned. It's inherited. This is the divine exchange. Your worry for his wisdom, your striving for his strategy, your scarcity for his supernatural supply. You've been faithful with little. Now watch what God does with much. The same grace that sustained you in obscurity will promote you in visibility. You are about to enter places that once rejected you, but this time you will carry a peace so powerful that resistance will give way. Those trials were never designed merely to teach you how to survive. They were preparing you to manage what heaven was about to place in your hands. Now you are equipped, provided for, covered in favor, and released from what once held you back. Chosen one. What is beginning to unfold around you is not random. It is heaven arranging every detail with perfect precision, every step, every divine connection, and every unexpected opportunity belongs to a plan God established long before you could recognize it. You are entering rooms where your name has already been mentioned, places where your presence is the missing piece in a greater divine purpose. This is what happens when your appointed season arrives. God moves quietly, perfectly, and then, all at once, The same barriers that once caused you to question yourself are now becoming stages where your testimony will be revealed. You are not simply receiving blessings. You are being established as living proof of what happens when obedience is supported by heaven. Anointed One. This is the moment when what God revealed begins to appear in tangible form. Soon, you will understand why the journey required so much time, why certain relationships ended, and why particular doors remained closed. Every delay was developing you. Every heartbreak was sacred redirection. Every rejection was God declaring, "There is something greater prepared for you." Heaven was not denying you. It was refining the story, removing anything that would have weakened, distracted, or diminished your destiny. You were shaped in hidden places so that when abundance arrives, it will align with who you have become and move through your life without resistance. God never wastes a season. He uses every moment to enlarge your capacity. And now, that capacity has been prepared to hold the overflow. I recognize this pattern deeply. The seasons I once pleaded with God to end became the very seasons that prepared me for expansion. I believed I was falling apart, but He was forming me. I assumed I had been forgotten, but He was carefully placing me exactly where I needed to be. The blessings didn't come dressed in comfort. They came disguised as pressure, pruning, and patience. And when the shift came, it was swift. That's how I learned. Divine funding never arrives early, but it's never late. It comes exactly when your character can carry the weight of your calling. Chosen One. This supernatural transfer isn't limited to money. It's wisdom, influence, creativity, and vision. Spiritual wealth taking form. You're about to operate in clarity that silences confusion. What used to drain you will now energize you because you're moving with divine backing. When you walk into a room, people may not understand it, but they'll feel it. That quiet authority, that unshakable peace, that glow of someone covered by heaven's sponsorship, that's the signature of being chosen. Not pride, but presence. Anointed One. Prepare for divine partnerships. The isolation you endured was never punishment. It was preparation. Heaven was pruning your circle, so only those meant for your next level could remain. Now, the right alignments are forming. Destiny connectors who recognize your anointing, celebrate your vision, and multiply your impact. You're no longer trying to fit into old spaces. You've outgrown them. God is setting a new table, and your nameplate is already there. Chosen One. Do not shrink for familiarity. The world you once knew cannot contain who you've become. This is your Kairos moment. Divine timing made visible. The river of provision is flowing, and you're right in the center of it. You won't need to chase. What's yours will be magnetized to your obedience. Heaven's current is carrying you with ease. Let peace be your confirmation. If it costs your peace, it's not funded by God. From this point forward, your life will carry the fragrance of divine order, calm, clarity, and constant provision. Every step, every move, every word will testify that you are fully sponsored by the King of Heaven. Walk boldly. Chosen One. The funding has been approved, and the flow has begun. Chosen One. This is the part of your journey where everything you've carried in faith begins to take form. The vision that once lived only in your heart is about to manifest before your eyes. You'll start to see proof of what your spirit has known all along. that God was never preparing you for survival. He was preparing you for stewardship, the tests, the tears, the nights of uncertainty. They were all refining your capacity to hold what's being released now. Anointed One, when heaven funds your life, it doesn't just fill your hands, it fills your purpose. The same God who multiplied the loaves and fish is multiplying your resources, your reach, your influence. He's taking what seemed small and stretching it until it becomes supernatural. This is not the time to doubt. It's the time to declare, I am walking in divine overflow. Because you are. The gates of limitation are lifting. The sound you hear in your spirit is the sound of breakthrough. I've witnessed how quickly God can shift a life. I've gone from waiting to walking, from almost to abundance, in what felt like a single moment. But it wasn't sudden to heaven. It was scheduled. Heaven operates on divine timing. And now it's your turn on the timeline. The things that used to exhaust you will now energize you because grace has taken over where striving once lived. Chosen One. Don't let old habits sabotage this new flow. The wilderness taught you dependence, but this season will teach you discernment. You'll have choices, invitation, and opportunities. Not all will be divine. Listen for peace, not pressure. God's direction never rushes. It releases. You'll know it's Him when you feel expansion without anxiety, movement without confusion, growth without losing your grounding. You've been asking, Lord, when will it be my time? Heaven is answering, now, but not because you earned it, because you endured it. You stayed faithful when it made no sense. You believed when belief hurt. You gave when you had little left to offer. That faith was not ignored. Every unseen act of obedience became currency in the spirit. And now, heaven is cashing it in as manifestation. Anointed One, you are walking into supernatural ease. Not because the path will be without challenges, but because your spirit has learned to rest while you rise. The same hands that built the universe are carrying your next chapter. You are not hustling for success. You are harmonizing with divine order. The blessing will not feel heavy. It will feel holy. Chosen One, lift your head and take this in. You're funded and fortified. Heaven has signed your name to this release. What once looked impossible will soon look inevitable. The blessing isn't coming. It's already here. You're walking in it, breathing in it, living in it. The supernatural has become your new normal. Chosen One, this is where everything comes full circle. You've endured the process, walked through the fire, passed the hidden tests, and now the evidence of divine funding is about to surround your life. What's coming next will not be subtle. It will be visible, undeniable, and prophetic. The same people who questioned your silence will witness your rise. The same ground where you sowed in tears will soon bloom in abundance. Anointed One, this is not a season of striving. It's a season of arrival. You don't have to chase anymore. You attract what's aligned with your assignment. You've shifted from survival mode to spiritual ownership. God isn't just providing for you. He's partnering with you. You and heaven are now in covenant movement. Every step you take is co-signed by divine authority. What used to be hard will now feel holy. This is where you realize that the fire didn't burn you. It branded you. Every scar has become a signature of purpose. Every loss was a lesson. Every delay, a disguise for destiny. The tests that once felt cruel were actually confirmations that you were chosen to carry more. The struggle wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to refine you until you could hold heaven's wealth without losing heaven's heart. I know that feeling of finally exhaling after a long season of waiting. When peace begins to replace panic, when miracles show up without warning, when you realize that God never forgot you, He was preparing the world to receive you. That's where you are now. You've stepped into divine synchronization. Time, people, and purpose are now working together on your behalf. Chosen one. Get ready for unusual favor. Resources will appear from directions you never imagined. Doors will open that you didn't even knock on. You'll find yourself saying, "I don't know how this happened," but heaven will know. You're walking in what was written for you long before you were born. The transfer isn't just financial, it's spiritual. God is moving influence, wisdom, and opportunities into your hands because He trusts your heart. Anointed one, this is your confirmation. You've been funded for the journey ahead, not because of status or strategy, but because of surrender. God invests in faith, and your faith has reached maturity. You're no longer praying from desperation. You're decreeing from authority. The waiting season has ended. The fulfillment season has begun. So, lift your hands, chosen one, and receive what's already yours. Peace in your mind, strength in your body, provision in your path. You are walking into a future where every need is met before you ask, every step is ordered before you plan, and every blessing arrives right on time. This is your heaven-sent provision, your supernatural inheritance, and the confirmation your spirit has been waiting to receive. Chosen one, move forward with courage, live without fear, and give with an open heart. The promise is already working. The covenant still stands. God is sustaining your life. And what you are witnessing now is only the first chapter. Chosen one, receive this as your confirmation. Heaven has already released what you have been praying for. The divine exchange has begun. Resources are moving in your direction. And every word God declared over your life is coming alive in this very moment. You endured the testing, the purification, the waiting, and the breaking. None of it was wasted. Every season carried you toward this point of supernatural alignment. This is your Kairos moment, the appointed hour when faithful obedience meets divine abundance. Anointed one, step confidently into everything God has prepared and provided. You are no longer trying to prove that you are chosen. You are living from the identity heaven has already given you. The provision, the peace, and the right partnerships are not distant promises. They are already entering your reality. You are standing beneath an open heaven, and everything required to complete your assignment has already been placed within reach. So, pause, breathe deeply, give thanks, and remain unwavering. Continue moving with the anointing. Guard the purity of your spirit. Strengthen your faith, and let your gratitude be heard. The current of heaven is powerful, and it is carrying you into a season of divine acceleration. If this message bears witness with your spirit, seal it through faith. Type 777 inches, the comments, as your declaration that the season of completion has arrived. Subscribe and continue this journey of faith alongside thousands of chosen ones around the world. Now rise and move forward. Anointed one provided for, surrounded by favor, and strengthened for what lies ahead. Heaven is supporting every step you take. The promise is alive, and your miracle is unfolding even now.